And then he did the ultimate thing. He sent me my address. Yeah. He
Oh,
basically
wow.
he did like the countdown, and then after the countdown, it said my address, and then it said see you later.
Yo, party people, it's Ashley of SingleWomanChronicles.com, where I inspire single women to be the best version of themselves through healing and avoiding certain pitfalls in dating, love, and relationships. Ooh, child, I be tripping over words. And today's episode is brought to you by my book, How to X Your Ex, a guide to getting past unhealthy relationships. It's time to end the agonizing cycle of unhealthy relationships. Most people struggle with breakups because they just don't know how to start the healing process. How to X Your Ex is a step-by-step guide on moving past unhealthy relationships. Renew your strength and find happiness again by walking away from relationships that no longer serve you. Start fresh by Xing your ex. You can get this book on Amazon, books on Google Play, Apple Books, Barnes and Noble website, and Audible if you don't like reading. All right. We have a guest today. You know, I always warn y'all before I start talking that I have a 13-year-old Shih Tzu. He's always here. He be coughing. He be doing the most. So if you hear something in the background, it is. Okay. All right. All right. Now we got all the casualties out. Hey, girl. Hey, introduce yourself.
Yes, okay, Dr. Bandy. Yes, originally from Long Beach, California, raised in Terry, Mississippi, by
I
way
didn't
of
know you was from Long
Kentucky.
Beach.
Yes, LBC in the house.
I did
But
not
I
know
grew up down here, so yeah. But I love Kentucky. Kentucky is my second home as well.
that. Okay.
So many people may not know this, but I met you when you wrote your first book. I had the
Yeah.
book, I had the shirt. That was like 2015, 2016, honey. We are both authors, honey. I think I got like two novels, yes, and a still feel book. So yeah, we were right there when nobody knew. When you had to promote yourself like on blogs, you had to do the blog and be the blog. And
Do the blog, do the interviews, everything. It's
it was not like now
trenches.
how people just jumping on podcasts being
Uh-uh.
like, oh, I just
Uh-uh.
know, you know.
Mm-mm.
No, baby, listen. She was in it in the beginning, honey. She's been
Exactly.
down through there,
I
okay?
love
Yes.
it. I love it. Thank you, girl. Thank you.
Yes. So
So the other day, I posted a podcast, and the title was "Are We Too Entitled in Dating?" And the reason I posted it is because I saw this popular guy on Instagram. Y'all go back and watch, but his video went viral because he was basically saying that when he's dating a woman, if she don't come in his house and start cleaning up immediately, then she ain't the one or something like that. And I'm like, sir, she is not your
yes.
mother. So, people were feeling, the post, the short snippet of the post. And then Dr. Mandy here came through and was like, what did you comment?
Well, about the guy post too, I just want to say that's just in context. You know, if you're dating somebody, you don't really know them. They shoot you a text every now and then. No, please don't go to their house cleaning up, girl. Don't do it. Because you're going to be a new girl, okay? Now, if that's your man, your man, baby. Yes, okay. I was in
This
a
man
relationship
was
for
talking
like,
about a woman he's dating to see if she's
no,
good. And
no,
I'm like,
listen,
dude, I am not Molly
listen.
Dwayne.
I didn't, it may have been, I would say my last relationship, I was with my ex for what, a year and a half, probably after, I would say 11 months. That's when I actually was like, ugh. I was like, if I gotta be over here, let me do this. And he's like, he used to fuss too. He'd be like, you don't have to do that. I was like, I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for me so I can be comfortable. So,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Because it's even shaky in like the girlfriend sphere in a sense. Like,
Hmm.
because it's like you don't, as a woman, sometimes you don't want to give out too much because you're like, is he taking advantage of me? Is this going, you know what I mean?
Right,
Is
right.
it
But
too much?
yeah,
But like I
definitely
said,
make sure y'all on the same page is giving. And I had that, so I didn't mind. So, yeah.
but the point I made is only do it out of the kindness of your heart. Like, don't do it out of
Uh-uh.
obligation. I feel like a lot of women, because I've been there before, like where I did things in order to earn a guy or to feel like, okay, if I do this, it'll win him. But then at the end of the day, when I didn't win him, I felt like I need a return on my investment and I didn't get that. So like, I feel like some women are actually like that. They'll go in and they'll clean up because they're like naturally givers. I know me, that ain't me. Like, I'm not just gonna go in and think first, like, let me clean his house. No, I don't live here. So
No.
not saying that I wouldn't, but like I have to get to that level to feel like it. Like you said, it took like you like a year. So that's my whole thing. Like, just do it out of the kindness of your heart. Never do it to like earn somebody. So that's my take
Yeah.
on it.
And my ex, he really had showed me though, like I love her, I'm there for her, I'll be there. Like, girl, I was spoiled. So yeah,
Well, I'm saying he's your ex. I don't know what happened, but sorry.
I was ready to get married. He wasn't, yeah. So
Maybe he'll come back around. Maybe he'll spin the block.
no, we don't do that. We
You
don't
know,
do that over here, honey.
I'm gonna get a clapper soon. Cause
We don't do that.
I need a clapper again. Cause I
What's
used
that
to
thing?
have one. I need the clapper.
We don't spin no
Listen,
blocks,
we
honey.
don't spin the blocks. Yeah, I'm like that too. I'm real. Like, if I said no the first time, I meant it. Like, get up out my face. Get up out. But anyway, so you posted something. You come in as something interesting. So what did you come in under my post?
Well, I shared that, which was really the first time I had shared that on
Mm,
social media, that I was stalked
mm,
this year, and that was difficult. That was a difficult journey because I had never experienced anything like that. It was a long 6 months into this year.
wow. So the reason I wanted to have you on here because hopefully this can help somebody
Yeah.
because you know what I mean? Because like you kind of don't know. Some people don't know the signs if you haven't been through it. Like I've never been stalked, so I wouldn't know what to look for. I wouldn't know how to handle it. You know what I mean? So that's really why I wanted to have you on. So start from the beginning. How did you meet this guy?
Okay. And one thing I want to share is it's important. Like, if you've been involved with a guy, if you dated a guy, like I had an ex fiance who stalked me,
Mm,
but I knew him and
mhm,
I knew how crazy he could get, and I knew the limitations of his crazy because he was well acquainted with my family. He knew my brother. I
mhm,
knew how far he would go. This is someone that I did not know.
mhm,
This is someone that I was not romantically involved with. This is someone that if I ran into them maybe, a year from now, before all of this happened, I wouldn't have recognized them.
mm.
If I saw them across the room, I'd probably be like, I know this. He look a little familiar.
Gotcha.
Like, this is someone that I really like had no idea who he was. But
Mhm,
in January, I have a lot of, like, I'm a Virgo, so we do a lot of the things the same. We're very routine. We go to the same
mhm,
places. We hang with the same people. We eat the same food. And one of my favorite lunch spots, I was there,
mhm,
and I usually do working lunches because I teach online. So I'm a professor, I'm a director, and so on my lunch breaks, I try to grade and speak with students just to know, so they can get their hands on. And so usually I have my laptop, and it's a couple more people that be there. They have their laptops and stuff. And we know everybody. It's a nice environment. It's not too loud, whatever. So one day I'm in there, and I see this guy sit down next to me with a white guy. Okay, so it's
mhm,
a black guy and a white guy. And I look up, I kind of look, and I look back down, but I'm waiting on it to go. So I'm like, oh, I've seen him in here before. I actually had seen him in there when I was with my ex once, and he had looked at me, and I'm like, that guy looked at, and I told myself, I said, that guy looked at me like he knew me.
mm,
And my ex he's really passive, so he was just like, oh, whatever. So the guy said something before I got my food. He said something like, oh, we're friends on Facebook.
mm. Okay.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Right.
Baby, I hit you with the nonchalant, honey, because I don't know you.
Right.
And he's like, yeah. He's like, and I seen you in here before. I'm like, well, everybody know me. I'm in here all the time.
Right. I'm like,
So that's pretty normal. He's like, yeah, the last time I seen, he said, one time I seen you here with a guy. I said, yeah, that's my ex. And he said, another time I seen you in here by yourself and you were on the computer again. I'm like, yep, yeah.
mm, mm,
And so he was like, well, it was great seeing you or whatever. I was like, what's your name? We kind of had like, I was trying to figure out like who he was on Facebook. And he told me, and I was like, no, I don't know their name. I was like, but you look like, I said, you look like this guy named Henry. And he's like, no, I'm not Henry. I was like, you don't work, here and you don't have this. And he's like, no, that's not me. I'm like, oh, well, you look just like him. But I did have a Facebook friend named Henry.
okay.
He was similar. He looked similar. So time goes on. I don't think anything of it. I leave. One day he writes me on Facebook and he's just like, hey, remember me? I told you we were friends on Facebook. This guy probably is about 6'4", 6'5".
Mm-hmm.
My son's father is probably taller. So he probably about 6'4", maybe 6'3". But he's tall. Not bad looking.
Mm-hmm.
Handsome. So he writes me and he's like, oh, do you remember me? I told you we were friends on Facebook. So at first I was like kind of annoyed because I was just like, okay, yeah, we're
So
friends.
when he approached you at the restaurant, was there an attraction there, or you just was like,
No.
oh, no. Okay, okay, you were instantly like,
I mean, I wouldn't. It would. I didn't see him like that. Usually, like when
yeah,
I meet people, you know how like if you in work mode, you're not thinking and like,
oh, true, true,
oh, this
yeah,
is
yeah,
someone approaching me.
yeah, I got you.
So, and I got my like own little stuff going on. So I was like, if
You
you trying,
just you had tunnel vision. You had
yeah. So I'd be
okay.
like, I'm trying to get this bag and whatever.
Right, right. I'm trying to get to this money. I got you. Okay. So he's messaging you. He's like, I told you I knew you, and then what happened?
So he's like, the way they were dressed was very like blue collar. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with blue collar men. My ex was a blue collar man, like work hard, smart, whatever. There's nothing wrong with it, but it just I wasn't, I wasn't
You,
like,
you,
oh my god, you're so handsome.
yeah, you were in tunnel vision. I got you.
So when he wrote me, I looked at his pictures and I'm like, I really don't know this guy for real. And I'm like, yeah, he looked a little funny, but whatever. Cause he had some. It's the eyes. My mama always say it's the eyes.
Look a little
So I
funny.
really just like didn't worry about it. Cause people write me and I ignore them all the time. It's not a big
Got
deal.
you.
And some people get used to it and they just deal with it and they continue to write.
To
And
talk to
other
themselves.
people like I've just run into where people are writing me and they're getting upset because I'm not responding.
Really?
This is and so that goes into everything that's triggering all everything.
Wow.
So the guy was like, oh, maybe like his next message, of course, was like, oh, maybe we should have a drink sometime, whatever, whatever. And he's like, what are you doing? It was like immediately like the next day, what are you doing? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, well, I'm not available like that for real. I was like, and then I actually have a comedy show to go to, so I wouldn't be able to do that. And he was like, oh, okay, all right. He kind of, didn't say nothing. And so, no big deal. Didn't think anything of it. Went to go support one of my friends. They had a comedy show down the street from my house. I literally do not leave County Line Road. So
Mm-hmm.
I went there and the guy was there. And
So,
he's
time out.
like,
So you didn't post nothing. You didn't nothing. He just
I did post the comedy show thing.
okay. So okay,
And I forgot to tell you, I had added him on Instagram.
okay.
So up until this point, we're friends on Facebook. We're friends on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay. Well, I did repost my friend's thing, but he
Got
was
you.
like,
I'm trying to
yeah,
see like how you know. Okay.
yeah. He's like, well, I was at a place. It's like a lot of restaurants right there. He was like, well, I was here and I just like wanted we can have a drink, whatever, whatever. So by this time, I'm kind of like, I mean, I'm gonna just be nice,
Right.
I'm
Right.
just be nice. And so gulped it down, and I'm like, okay, well, I really have to like pay attention and say hey to my friends and go,
So I
this
want to do
way.
this as a sidebar. So we all know like the recent incident with the young lady who got hit upside the head with the brick and stuff. And I feel like a lot of women, we feel like we have to be nice in uncomfortable situations to protect ourselves. And it's so unfair to us, especially like black women, because they swear by now we're just rowdy and this and that, but most of the time we're not. We're very like accommodating because we don't know what's going to happen. So like that's like our survival
And
mode. Like kicking to
he
survival
talked.
mode is like I'ma just
Yeah.
shoot. Yeah. So yeah, you keep.
Yeah, he said everything. I didn't even say anything.
Mm,
Like, honestly, I think I almost paid for my drink. Like you just I'm not.
right.
So, and when he was talking, he was like, "Oh, like I'm a six-figure guy. I own property in Canada. I have this, I got that. I stay like over in this neighborhood." So I was just like, "Okay, well, it's nice meeting you, whatever, whatever." So time went on. His take on it was like he wrote me. He was just like, "How dare you have a drink on me and like not kind of match my energy, not give me the conversation that I wanted to, like go with."
Well, what's your cash app? I was seeing this money back. Stop playing with me.
I
Oh
was
my
like, "Purple
god.
honey, it ain't. It's cheap." I was like,
Exactly. What is your
I was
cash
like,
app? I'll just send it back because I'm.
I said that, girl. Anyway, so I'm kind of just like, well, I don't really have time for all this, because whatever energy you pushing, I'm not buying. Like,
Right.
I'm good. So time goes on, February comes. I think that's when the Super Bowl is, right?
Yeah.
So the Super Bowl day, I was with my brother and his family, and he writes me on Instagram and he says something like super lewd. He's just like, "Hey, are you watching the Super Bowl? Rihanna's gonna be on there." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, mm-hmm."
Hmm.
Then he goes into, "Oh," and it was sudden and swift and quick. He says, "Oh well, you should tell me when you go on your lunch breaks, and I'll meet you at your house and we can fuck."
What?
And I was just so like I was so disturbed. I was so taken back.
Yeah. You
I was
probably
so
felt
disgusted.
disrespected.
And I was just like, cause here I am. I got my family, my nieces sitting next to me. Like I with my brother. I'm the baby and I'm the girl. So I was just like, "Hey, dude, you out of line?" I told him, I was like, "Hey, you are so out of line. You have no idea." And he was like, "Nah, you like it." And I'm like, "What?"
Mhm.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Okay, yeah, you weird." I was
You
like,
know
"You're a weirdo." I said, "I see it
Yeah.
right now. You're a weirdo."
Yeah, you one of
He's
those.
like, "Nah, I'm not one of those. Da, da,
You're
da.
one of
I
those,
know you."
baby.
Yeah. I was like, "No, you're one of those." And
Yeah.
he's like, basically, he tried to use the excuse the fact that he had kids and that he was successful, that he wasn't like that, and
Oh, you are.
something about he had been in a long term relationship, whatever. I don't know. So I just really like dismissed it. I was, how you put people messages on pause and you just never look
Mm-hmm.
back or whatever. And so in March, like kind of the end of February, that weekend, I ended up going to Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to see my best friend, and I was going to see some friends that I went to boarding school with, and just hanging out, enjoying. Like it was amazing. I had a whole itinerary set. I went everywhere that I wanted to go that you see like on TV and all that. But so I'm living my best life, and I get a message on Facebook, and it says something like, "Oh, you must be in Atlanta with N word."
You can say it with a nigga. I got you.
Oh yeah, okay. I ain't want to offend nobody.
Oh no, you cool. You cool. I be saying
Yeah,
it.
he was
I'm
like,
I'm
"Oh,
trying to
you must
stop.
be in Atlanta with your nigga."
Mm-hmm.
Nigga, what? Who? First of all, who is this? Because you know how you just see a message sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, nigga, you're weird. Go the fuck on, move along. I was like, so now you watching my stories because I haven't posted. I always do a reel at the end of my trips
Got you. Yeah.
because I always want to like highlight restaurants, places I eat, stuff like that.
So you hadn't blocked him by then?
That's what I'm getting to.
Okay, because I girl, he
So
was a big
I was
block.
like, you must have been. I don't post on Facebook, so he
Mm-hmm.
must have been watching my Instagram
Yeah.
story. And I get this weird message on Facebook, and he's just like, "Oh, you must be down there with a nigga, or that must be your nigga." I'm like, "You're a fucking weirdo."
You've been a weirdo.
I was like, "Dude, what is your problem? What do you not get?"
Right.
And so I'm so used to when I tell somebody like, "Oh, I'm not, I'm good. I got a situation. I'm straight." Even the hood niggas, they be like, I respect it. I
Mm-hmm.
got you. So, and then I'm kind of more so used to hood niggas approaching me and just being like totally respectful and going about their business. So I'm like, you're a different caliber of nonsense.
Yeah.
And he was like, what do you mean by that? I was like, because you don't get it. You're annoying. You are over trespassing your boundaries. You're in my business and I haven't given you that type of energy.
Right.
And so he's like, okay, well, hold up, hold up. He's like, I'm in Dallas. I'm on my way to Canada. He's like, when I get back, how about we just go on a date and everything? We straighten everything out, squash everything out.
Why
And I'm
you
like,
think
well, honestly, like, it's too late for that. I was like, I have no interest in going out with you. In fact, I was like, I'm about to block you. I was like, so don't take it no type of way, but you're weird.
Mhm.
Block him, right? Okay. I get back from Atlanta. I go to Memphis. I take my son to Memphis. It was his birthday. We go, do all that Clipper. It wasn't who played Pelican. No, I'm sorry, girl. Let me
Girl,
stop.
I don't know. You
I go to
just as,
Memphis after
just
I
as
get there
foolish
from
as you.
Atlanta. And I take my son to see Golden State in the Grizzlies, right? So
True.
this is between that. This is during a time where all that drama is going on with the guy who had the gun, Jay Morant or whatever. Morant, yeah, he had the gun in the club with the stripper.
Oh, okay. Got you. Got you.
Yeah, and my son loves him. But anyway, go do that. That was like a whole experience. We were on the floor, do the whole zoo, whatever. Like I love South
Mm-hmm.
Haven, so that's my place. So it was really nice. I get back from Memphis and I get a text message from this girl named Shantae. And the girl is like, hey, my name is Shantae. You been fucking my man. And I'm like, well,
You get a
honestly,
text or a message on
I
like
get a text.
a text. Okay, so someone has your number. Okay, continue.
Yes. So I'm like, you're funny. I was like, no, honey. I was like, wrong bitch. Okay. Right agenda, wrong bitch. I
Oh,
was like, cause I ain't fucking nobody. So you
right.
got it twisted, honey.
Oh my
And she's
god.
like, no, I know it's you. I got pictures of you. I got videos of you. I said, but it's probably off of Instagram. I was like, girl, go somewhere. I know. I was like, really? For real. I said, if this is a nigga playing on my phone, I was like, you gonna regret it. I said,
Mm-hmm.
because it sounds like a sour ass nigga. A
Mm-hmm.
nigga I didn't told no, they won't leave me alone.
Mm-hmm.
And he sends a picture of a woman from, it looks like maybe like a Snapchat type filter or whatever. It was really weird. And she's like, no, this is a woman. I got videos of you. I found pictures of you in my nigga phone. I was like, bitch, send them in. Let's go.
Please send
Let's go.
receipts. Send
Never
receipts.
send them.
Send receipts.
Every time I said send them, they would revert back to, excuse me, they would revert back to, let's go out to eat. Let's meet at Iron Horse.
What?
Let's meet up. I'm
Bro,
gonna meet
I'm
up, and
accusing you of smashing my man, and you think I'm finna beat up with you, girl? You're not finna. I'm
I'm
good.
gonna bring him. We gonna meet up.
We can
I was like, you
FaceTime.
gotta meet up by yourself, honey, because I know this is you. I'm saying this man. I'm like, dude, I know this is you. I was like, you're the only person that I know that has had a problem with me turning them down. I was like, I know
You
this
get your
is you.
number.
That's the other thing. Well, I don't want to say it, but I
Ah,
have a consulting business.
okay. On
And
your
it was,
business.
yeah.
Got you.
So
You
if
got it through your
you,
business stuff. I got
yes, if you click on whatever, it'll come up.
got you. Okay.
That's what I'm assuming. Like seriously, like that's where I felt that came from.
Got you.
And of course it was like a fake number. So okay, time goes on, I blocked that number, text from another number, pretending to be a guy. And he's like, yeah, like my homeboy was talking to me about you. And he was like, I think I'm friends with her on Facebook and all this and that. And he gave me your number. It's always like this story.
The most bizarre story. Sir, you're missing your bless. I mean, you're missing out on life because you really could be a storyteller, a script writer. At this point, you can be an author.
All that. Because you
Sir,
keep telling the same stories. You know,
sir.
like you're like, um somebody knew you, they knew me, whatever. So I have my best friend, and I can't disclose which one because she will
That's
get in
fine.
trouble. I
Uh-huh.
have her write one of the numbers and pretends to be a chick.
Mm-hmm.
She ate it up. Sent pictures to her, was like, yeah, I remember you. She took some picture of a girl that she like met on some website or something. And he's like, yeah, I remember you.
Nah,
And I'm like,
I remember
oh.
you.
She's like,
Girl,
I'm from Dallas and
he
all
another
that.
level of thirsty. Like the thirst is very real.
And then she tells him, oh, you know what? Like when she get him to where he's like, I'm gonna meet up with you. It's us. She's like, oh, well, I heard you was a stalker. Somebody in Mississippi told me that, so I can't mess with you. And he goes off. He like
Sure.
loses it. He's like, I ain't no stalker. I ain't got no reason to stalk nobody. I'm this, I'm that.
Here we
Ain't
go.
no wow. Nobody got nothing I want. And so she was like, yes, that was definitely him.
He has none of those things.
And he sent the pictures. He's so stupid. He's sending pictures of everything. So anyway, time go on. One day I get a little picture of
Eggplant.
and it's just a picture. Now I'm in the middle of working. I'm
I would have been
like,
so mad. Oh my god, I would have been upset.
and my whole thing is I don't want to see none of those anyway. You get what I'm
I've
saying?
never,
Like,
I've always, anytime that has happened, because men just be sending them randomly, like I literally just, I just block. Cause I just, but the whole day I just feel like violated. You know, it's just such a violation. Cause
well, imagine somebody sending it and then telling you, oh, disrespecting you to the point where you're like, bitch, when you gonna do this? Bitch, when you gonna do that? That's what he sent that picture and then he started saying it.
wow,
And so he's like, yeah, you don't know me. I know somebody that know you. Da, da, da. I'm like,
it's
my dude.
you. It's always the same.
I'm like, I know it's you. And I say his name and I'm like, you gotta stop. I said, because what I'm getting from this is that you do this all the time and you think you get away with it. I was like, but now you've actually, that's a felony
Yeah,
because you sent that lewd picture. And he's
right.
like, oh, so he said something like, fuck all that, suck my dick, bitch. That's what he says. I said, your mama.
Uh huh.
And when I said your mama, that nigga went crazy. He went crazy. He said, I'm coming to your job. He actually said, I'm coming to your college. He's like, I'm coming. He's like, I got this for you. Don't call the police. I'm
Okay.
gonna get you. He's like, oh, you think you a better? You think you better than everybody else? He's like, you a stuck up ass bitch because you got a degree. He's like, you think you got your shit together? He's like, I'm gonna fuck you up.
Oh,
He did a countdown from when he was like, I'm 15 minutes away, I'm 10 minutes away, I'm 5 minutes away. He was like, do not call the police because when I pull up, he said, I'm gonna get your ass.
wow.
And I literally had to like take a deep breath and leave. I just left.
Wow.
And I went to Subway. Like I was on my way to Subway and I'm trying to calm down because, I don't know if this is real. I don't know if this is fake. I don't know if he bluffing. And then he did the ultimate thing. He sent me my address. Yeah. He
Oh,
basically he did like the countdown, and then after the countdown, it said my address, and then it said "See you later, bitch."
Wow.
So
Jesus,
I
that's
was really
weird.
devastated when I saw that because I have a son. I have a 10-year-old son,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I live. Uh,
Right. I
I
get it.
live me and
I
my son.
get it.
I mean, now I have my nephew here. But it was one of those things where it was just like I feel so like, oh my God, is he watching me now? Is he riding behind me
Right.
now? Because I literally go in a circle all day. So
Mm,
it's not hard to see me. And from what he had told me, I knew he lived near me, but I didn't know if that was true, you know?
right.
Anyway, so I immediately went home, checked my house, and I called the police and I filed a report.
Mm-hmm.
The police were a little like nonchalant about it. They were like, "Well, you know what?
They don't care.
They was like, this happens all the time. This happens more than you think." They was like, in the area you live, I live in a predominantly like white area. They was like, the biggest thing we have is not killings, but it's more so like domestic violence, stalking, and suicide. They're
Mm.
like, so all day it's a whole like domestic type stalking situations going on. That didn't make me feel better
So
at
smart.
all.
They tell you that. But also,
They
like, police always say they can't do anything unless the person tries to harm you physically or blah blah blah. So,
police are
so did
slow.
he reach out after that?
Yes. So that happened. I did the report. Um, my guy friend, he bought me a whole camera system for my house.
That's smart.
I got a gun.
Yeah, smart.
So I felt I got motion lights.
Hmm.
Like I felt a lot safer, but I still didn't feel all the way there.
Right, because it's sad. Like, because you don't know somebody can come pull up on you, and
So then I started getting Facebook messages from fake pages,
hmm,
pages that were made years ago, and it was him
yeah,
pretending to be a man who wanted to take me out on a date, and I was like, no. He's like, but I was he. This message, he was like, I was with somebody at a bar. They were talking about you. We were mutual friends. Da da da.
you realize that all his stories sound the same.
I'm like, dude, I know it's you because first of all, we don't have any mutual friends. Second of all, you wrote this message at 5:30 in the morning. I'm like, so if you was around a whole bunch of niggas, you're gay. So I know you're lying. And he was just like, bitch. That's when he would go, bitch, you know, da 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 da.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
think you
cuss you
did,
out.
did, whatever, whatever.
So, what was the end? Because, good lord.
So after that message, he sent one more message. I was at the hair salon
Hmm.
where he was pretending to be someone that I didn't know. He said that, yeah, I met you out in the club. You gave me your number. First of all, girl, I don't go to the club. Them days is gone, honey. You will definitely catch me at a restaurant.
Exactly.
Okay,
Or
you will catch me
lounge
at the
at
sushi
the
bar.
club, right?
But at the club, and then he sends this picture of this light skinned nigga who was like way too skinny and way too young, and nothing wrong with light skinned men,
Hmm.
but baby, I like me some brown caramel and chocolate.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
I was like, dude, this is you. Like, stop. And then he sent a message from what I found out later was from his real phone. He
Okay.
sent a message, telling me his name and asking me to go to brunch. And he's like, "Are you mad at me? Why are you so mad at me? Why you won't let me go out with you?" And then he sent another message and he's like, "Okay, let's go to lunch." This is like on a weekend he was sending these messages. And so in my mind, I'm still kind of just like, I'm at home alone. I'm really nervous, whatever.
He's crazy.
So, and so I'm like, he's guilty. I'm calling my mom. He's guilty. He's saying this and he's saying that. I'm calling my girlfriend. I'm like, he's guilty. He said it. He's like, I'm mad at him, whatever. He know he doing it. So, you just got to pray, let it go. Well, when he sent the message on Facebook, the pictures tracked back to his job. and to the
Oh,
property that he owned in Canada.
okay.
When I Googled the pictures, they tracked back. So what I did was I printed that off and I took that to the investigating officer and I
Mm-hmm.
signed the affidavit.
Okay, gotcha. So did they reach out to him?
He was arrested.
Oh,
So
well,
the Thursday
okay.
or Friday after I
Yes.
did that, that Saturday morning I had a conference at two. Well, I'm sorry, Saturday morning after he sent the message on Thursday and Friday,
Mm-hmm.
he was arrested
Mm-hmm.
Saturday. hmm
What was he charged with? Stalking.
Cyber stalking,
Mm,
and it was something else that was like aggressive because of the threats.
yeah. So afterwards, did he reach out
Yeah.
anymore? Yeah, because I'm like, I feel
Maybe
like
did
that
you
would,
wear my garage then? Okay. You said what now?
did he reach out anymore? I feel like that would agitate him.
So when he was arrested, during the time he was arrested, then sergeant officer called me and told me while I was at the conference. That afternoon, I went home. I was afraid. I was
Mm-hmm.
crying. I was alone. I didn't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
And all I could depend on emotionally was like my girlfriend. So after the last text message, I guess he was trying to send a message to where, because in some of the fake messages he was just kind of asking, well, are you gonna call the police on him, or are you gonna, report him, stuff like that. I guess he was trying to find out. I didn't ever mention that part because I really was like, I'm gonna see how far this is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
But when I found the pictures that linked to everything else, I just went ahead and signed the affidavit because now you're playing.
Yeah.
So when he was arrested, that I think it was either, well, Saturday morning I got a call that he was arrested,
Mm-hmm.
and I found out that he had spent the night in jail.
Okay.
So he had probably spent that Friday in jail.
Okay.
So that Saturday afternoon, they said that he was out,
Okay.
and they wanted to let me know that he was out.
Yeah. Cause
So I was terrified. I
yeah.
didn't want to go anywhere. I was super paranoid. Every time I went somewhere, I'm kind of like looking over my shoulder. I'm wondering, is he gonna be there? Or I'm just like thinking all this stuff that you never thought that you would think, especially like when you live in the area where you always feel so safe.
Right.
Because I'm the type of person, I'll get up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, like, oh, I'm gonna go shopping real quick. I'll be back. Or I'm gonna wake up at 5:30. I'm gonna go for a run. I'll be back. Whatever. A walk, girl. I was
I
trying
just did a walk. She's like, why am I kidding? A walk. That's
oh God,
hilarious.
baby, I be bad walking fast.
Walk fast.
But anyway, my mom used to always say, "Why you do that? Why you do?" I was like, don't know people be around, so it's nice in a grocery store. It's quiet and all this. But anyway, I was like, not on that time,
Yeah, you
and
can't. Yeah.
so
Was that the end, or was there more?
um, I'm gonna just say real quick for
Mm-hmm.
African American women who want to know what's gonna be done with them being harassed, with them being like bullied on, all that type of stuff. I'm not a police person. I don't call the police. It's been instances where I've had a situation where I was like, okay, you need to leave. That's what we're going to settle that in the street, right? This was
Mm-hmm.
the first time where I actually like involved the police.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the word came from my mom because she's 30 minutes away.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I would talk to the investigation office, most of the time I could only get the investigation secretary. And
Mm-hmm.
she would just tell me like, hey, people call up here all day asking the same questions. If he hasn't came to you, if he hasn't said anything to you, if he haven't contacted you, Amanda, go on with your life. Push forward. Like, don't let these, stop worrying so much. And it's hard when somebody's telling you that when you're in the middle of it and
I was
somebody
about to say that's right. And I have a child.
that
He knows where I live. Like he knows my schedule. He knows where I work.
somebody that calls you all kind of bitches, you don't know where the anger is coming from. All you know is that you told someone, I'm not interested.
Mm-hmm.
Don't mesh. I don't think this is something that I would like to pursue. I have something else going on. And they tell you, well, you're a bitch for that. And I'll fuck you up. So The lady tried to be as understanding as possible. And she tried to inform me about things, the process. After he was arrested, I'm assuming that he pled guilty because there was not a trial to prove that he did not do it. And
Okay.
that's what I was waiting on. I was supposed to be, yeah, I did go to Belize, but while the time I was in Belize, I'm supposed to be waiting on them to tell me if this is going to be a trial or if
Mm.
he's going to take a plea. And when I got back, he ended up taking a plea.
Okay.
They had enough sufficient evidence where the prosecutor told him, like, we know this is you. You need to either pay a fine, do a class, or serve time.
Therapy, something, because you have a problem.
Right.
He
And
has a
so
problem.
from what I hear, he was granted to where he had to complete something until from the time I came back in July until August.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has to complete something from August now into the middle of September. So he's
Okay.
actually still going through that process. But what bothers me is, I still go to that restaurant for lunch. And recently I had went with some coworkers. One of my friends actually that I went to, we got our PhD together. She had dated my brother. Now we work together. We work actually both our jobs together. He came in and I was like, that's him.
Mm.
And so what he did was he actually moved from one side of the bar to the other to where he was in direct alignment to where I was sitting because we were like in the high chairs up in the corner. So he didn't have to look directly at me. All he had to do was hold up a piece of paper, which he was doing. Like he was, doing so much hard work. He ain't never bought no paperwork in there before. He
Mm-hmm.
holding up the paper, and I felt like that was a intimidation
Right.
tactic
Right. Yeah. Agreed.
because even though there's a no contact order in place, I want you to see that I see you when you look
But you're
up.
not even. He's not supposed to be that close to you.
They told me, now this is what the police say. They're like, well, I'm like, something has to be done. Like, if he come in there, don't he have to leave or whatever? And girl, the police had came in there when he was in there. He looked real nervous.
Mm-hmm.
That was crazy. But anyway, they were like, actually, as long as he doesn't say anything to you, as long as he doesn't bother you, it doesn't matter who was there first and who came later. They still played it like it's very like nonchalant. But to answer your question about the contact, as soon as that man was arrested, he left me alone. I've got no crazy messages.
Oh, that's
Now,
good.
every now and then, I still get like a fake page trying to follow me.
Mm.
Unfortunately, now I have to leave my page on private, but it would be like a stupid fake page, like a guy with his shirt off, and he just posted like 30 pictures 18 hours ago.
Wow. So yeah, if I were you, I would. Yeah, as you, I'm pretty sure you are. I just would still be on alert because he just.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, what would you just advise women to do besides like the police? Like, would you have done anything differently throughout everything? I mean, I
Um,
feel like you did everything you could do. Like, I love that got the security, you got a gun, you went to the police. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else. I mean, you could switch up your routine, but it's like, in that sense, it's kind of like he wins, and that's not fair to you, you know?
yeah, I could have changed my phone number, but
Yeah,
there's so many people that I help who have my number, and I didn't want to do that.
yeah.
Um, the advice that I would give them is don't just take your time when you, because people approach me now,
Mhm,
and so this more in reference towards the future.
mhm,
Like I had a guy approach me recently, and he's just like, "Oh, Amanda, you're so wonderful. You're so this, you're so that." And he was going. He didn't know me. He was just going based off of my Facebook page,
mhm.
and he knew somebody that knew me. He knew like a girl that was, that I hung out with, and I'm like, I'm good. And so he was like, well, you're dry, or, he write me on Facebook now. He's like, you're dry, or you don't respond, or,
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to be with you. I want to be in a relationship with you. I'm ready to get
What's the
married to
red
somebody.
flag? Block.
This is like 4 days of this guy writing me and me not responding. And so to me, that was triggering
Yeah, it is triggering.
because I'm like, I know you're a real person. I know you're not him. But the fact that you coming in me so strong, like I can't take it because I'm still in a space to where I have like my wall up, my guard up. I got a whole nother situation going on, baby. You don't even like you have no idea. So when people say like when guys are like, yeah, I'm dating this guy knew me for a day. He wrote me one time for a day and was like, I'm not talking to nobody else but you. First of all, nigga, you're not even talking to me. You're talking to yourself.
Right. What are you talking
And
about?
I ain't even been responding. Like, I've never FaceTime you. I never met you. I don't know you. So when you talk about that sense of entitlement, yes, I made the comment about being stalked. But the other sense of entitlement is that people holler at you and they feel like that
Mm,
you
I
deserve, they
agree.
deserve your
Yeah,
time.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
No, and that's
Yeah.
not how it goes. You can't. One thing I want to say to my black men: we love you, we support you, we're there for you, but we understand what you may be going through. You see your friends doing this, you see your friends doing that. You want a relationship, you want to ride it out chick, whatever you want a lot of bad chicks, but you cannot force a connection with people. If they don't have a connection with you, don't force it. If they
I,
got a situation going on, don't push it.
I think there just needs to be more. There needs to be a class on rejection for men specifically. I think all men would gain that. Like there literally needs to be a class for rejection for everybody. You include everybody, but the men really need to. You know what I mean? Because I feel like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of men cannot stomach that because they're so ego driven and they're
Mm-hmm.
because they're not wired like we are. You know, we're the nurturers. Like if you tell us no, we just go like, okay, cool, we can process that. But me and they're just like no, I got it. You know, this challenge, and it's like, bro, just chill out. And so many women getting murdered and hit with bricks and stalked because she said no, and that's like Jesus Christ, just move on. Like, good Lord. But I know, I know for me, it's just like for women, I would say you didn't do any of this, just to avoid that kind of stuff. Just I would say just don't even accept it because sometimes we'll accept things just because we're like, oh, let me be nice, and it's like, oh no, thank you. You know what I mean? Like because it kind of eggs them on. Like, don't accept the money they're sending. Don't do that.
Don't
But
please,
even in
yeah,
those
don't ever know. If it's not your man, don't take them
girl,
in.
I watched Fatal Attraction one time, and there was a young lady who was murdered by a maintenance man in her complex who she rejected because this man literally he zelled her $500, and she sent it back and was like, "No, I'm not taking this," and he still killed her. So it's just like it's not on us. It's not on us. I feel like we try to do so much, but it's just like it's not on us. All we can do, I would say, take self defense classes. I've taken them.
Yep, I've taken them.
Stay strapped with something. Even if you don't want a gun, like get a knife, get mace, have something to defend yourself. And just have your head on a swivel. Cause you just
Yes.
never know. And don't be prideful. Don't be that girl that's like, let me get up on him. Cause you never know. These guys are crazy. Don't be cussing these dudes out and do it. No, walk
No, don't
away.
do it. Walk away.
De-escalate. No,
Now,
but all right, girl. Thank you for this. That was a lot. That was a lot, and I'm glad that you got through it. But definitely, hopefully, he leaves you alone forever. Cause
yes, I'm just glad I'm to a space where I can actually like tell my story and
yeah,
I hope it helps somebody and just
yeah. Cause I
everybody.
bet you there's other women going through that, and they probably didn't know. Like, I can call the police and try to track him down and like get him tried. So definitely some good information.
Yes.
Definitely. Well, thank you, girl. Wish you luck. Bye.
See you later. Thank you.
You're welcome.